Tottenham Hotspur have just reached a whole new level after signing one of Europe's most exciting talents in Xavi Simons. In this video, we're going to be taking a look at the immense talent that Xavi Simons brings to Tottenham Hotspur, why he could be Thomas Frank's perfect attacking midfielder, and how he is the key to unlocking Tottenham's devastating new attack. Xavi Simons is one of the best players that Tottenham could have signed this summer. In fact, he might even be the best player that Tottenham could have signed this summer. He is a creative powerhouse and he has the ability to really drive this team forwards. He's that creative spark that they've desperately needed and desperately wanted. And this, I think, is a really good illustration as to why. And the amount of impact that losing James Maddison will have on the squad later down the line. Goal creating actions per 90. This is for players that have played over 10 90s in a season. James Maddison had a goal creating action average of 0.9. That's nearly one goal creating action per match, which is incredible. Xavi Simons is a little bit lower than that with one goal creating action every 2 games. But then once you start to lose Maddison and you take a look at the rest of the Spurs squad, Kulusevski with 0.34, Solanke with 0.33, bringing in a player of Xavi Simons' quality, current quality, but also his ceiling, the ability for him to really grow into that shirt, I think is incredibly important. He is such a creative player and he's able to link play pretty brilliantly with his passes into the penalty area, for example. He had 60 passes into the penalty area, more than any other Tottenham player from last season, and James Maddison, as you can see down here, had 32. Xavi Simons had 60. Really, really impressive. But he's not just around the penalty area, he's everywhere. As we can see, he enjoys drifting around this left-hand half space, that left-hand channel, and that is something we'll be discussing a little bit later, and how that might unlock an avenue for Tottenham to go forwards and bring others into play. He is brilliant at linking play, but he's also fantastic at driving forwards towards the penalty area to get a goal. He's got a fantastic eye for goal. He had 11 goals in all competitions last season, and he knows where the back of the net is. And it's his eye for goal, his creativity, but also the link play with his teammates that is going to take this Tottenham side creatively to a whole new level. Thomas Frank is really good at orchestrating different kinds of attacks, but it is really predicated on the idea that teammates are able to work for each other and move for each other. And this, I think, illustrates a really good example of not only Xavi Simons' quality, but also his game intelligence and awareness of what's going on around him and how he could link with different teammates. Of course, there's a throw-in going in towards the striker here in Nependa. Xavi Simons is going to make a run off the ball just into that space. Again, really clever, not congesting the play, but once the ball gets picked up by his striker, he's then able to see that and then make that touch pretty brilliantly once the ball comes over to him. He's got immense talent, he's got a fantastic touch, but once he brings it under his spell, once he brings it under control, it's then about driving with the ball. He is fantastic at dribbling, and it's these areas and these channels that you're going to see him really thrive. Just in front of the penalty area, really close control, the ability for him to pick his head up and take his moment at the correct time as well. His timing is pretty brilliant, and he's able to just fire it in towards that bottom left-hand corner. It's a fantastic goal. It's a sensational effort, but it's his drive, his game awareness, and his intelligence around his teammates that is what is going to really propel this Tottenham side forwards. It's his movement and ability to link with his teammates that is really going to open up this Tottenham attack, and it's his ability to move into both the left and right hand channels from that central attacking midfield role that we know Thomas Frank really wants and really utilises. But it's also the link with the striker, and I can't stress that enough. Whether it be Richarlison, whether it be Dominic Solanke's ability to drop deep, Richarlison's ability to link up with the rest of his teammates, hold on to the ball and allow them to go forwards. Xavi Simons will be the architect that links all of this together, whether it be from the left or right. But we've also seen Pat Massar really start to venture forward and start to get a good amount of attacking intent through him. So I can see a scenario where if Thomas Frank wanted to be a little bit more bold, he could really open up those attacking lanes by starting Sarr a little bit deep and allowing him to venture forwards, allowing for Palhinha to just mop up whenever he needs to. This allows Xavi Simons to move into a left attacking midfield role, a place that, as we've seen from his heat map, he's really comfortable with. And again, it's starting to create those passing triangles, starting to create those movements. Of course, there are still movements and passing triangles with Palhinha, and that's what gives this Tottenham side its balance. But just moving on from that and just extrapolating from that a little bit, what you could also see is Mohamed Kudus start to drift in field with Xavi Simons just on that left-hand side. All of a sudden now, you've got the idea for link-up play between Kudus, Simons and Solanke, while also maintaining that really wide aggressive presence, utilising Johnson, but also Pedro Porro. We saw how Pedro Porro had the second highest amount of passes into the penalty area, just below Xavi Simons, but obviously the highest out of any Tottenham player. You don't want to limit that attacking creativity, so moving Kudus just in field when part of that attacking phase of play, it could be an avenue that Tottenham start to look towards. Of course, Simons really does link everything, and it's through that you're going to start to get those typical Thomas Frank runs from out to in, Johnson and Kudus moving behind that defensive line, and then Simons linking play once receiving the pass from his, whether it be midfielders, whether it be defenders. He is the glue that can allow this Tottenham side to flourish, and he's also got that creative spark to not only get a goal but also assist his Tottenham teammates. And this, I think, is a really good illustration of the kind of quality that you can expect from Xavi Simons and the way that he's able to link both defence and attack while also exploiting the weaknesses of the opponent. Here you see him picking up the ball just between the midfield line and the defensive line. If I just show you this right here, it's really impressive. Look how much space he's in, drifting in from that left-hand side. He's received a pass into him from his midfielders, and he's just going to play it over the top towards Depender, who's on a brilliant run. But in this particular example, he doesn't actually take a touch, and it's something I think you'd expect a lot of players to do. Take a touch and then drive forwards, but he understands the situation, he understands where his strike partner is going, and he just lifts it over the top. It's then from that point of view that he's able to run in on goal. He understood the scenario, and it obviously led to a great goal scoring opportunity. But it just shows the creativity, the ability for him to move into space, and his quality on the ball, only needing a single touch with that deftness of pass. Absolutely fantastic. And finally, before we end, let's take a look at one more moment, because Spurs fans, you should really be excited about this one. It's a top signing and should really get you on the edge of your seat. Here we can see him picking up the ball in that midfield area again. Look how much space he's in. Look how he's able to drive into those different pockets of space. That's because of his game intelligence and the way that the team has been able to create that space. And that's something that I think a Thomas Frank side is really going to be good at, creating the space for his creative players to really do their work. He receives the pass and then is able to drive forwards. Notice this difference in space between the defenders. He notices that as well, but his close control and his ability on the ball is absolutely sensational. And it's in these tight spaces, in these corridors, that you're going to see him get out of trouble and then find a pass or find an opportunity onto goal. He drives forwards, he takes that space, but because of his great ability on the ball, he's able to not go past just one, but two players and still have the composure to finish into the goal. It's an absolutely sensational run, a brilliant bit of skill, and it is just magnificent. He is a top talent and a player that Spurs fans should be so excited for. So guys, let me know what you think in the comment section below on Xavi Simons joining Tottenham Hotspur. I think it's a sensational piece of business. What do you think? Let me know. Thank you ever so much for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed, I hope you learned something new, and I hope to see you in the next one. But until then, my friends, take care.